everybody. Thank you. Welcome to Disrupt. It's great to see so many people. We're so glad you could all join us today. My name's Stuart Dorman. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Sabio, and I'm going to be your host for what we hope will be a really fun and engaging day. Now, it was 3 years when we last hosted our Disrupt conference. We tried to do one 2 years ago, but we all know what happened around that time. And, we had literally a few days to decamp to our London office and broadcast the event to London or to the rest of the country, hoping that people were listening in. So a small number of us gathered in our London office with a camera crew to broadcast out, hoping that people were listening in amongst all the chaos that was going on in the world that time. Now, little did we realise that this would end up being the primary way that we'd end up communicating with our customers and with our colleagues for the best part of 2 years. I remember leaving the office that day, and this was still only a week or two before Boris announced the first lockdown, but the streets of London were completely deserted. It was really quite eerie. I'd never seen it. It was like a ghost town. Coming back here today, though, London is absolutely buzzing. It's great to see London back to its former glory. Apart from a few people wearing masks on the tube, you'd never really have noticed that anything would have happened in regards to the pandemic. Beneath the surface, though, I think that a new era has emerged. And it's giving us a chance to completely rethink the old ways of doing things and maybe to build something back a bit better than what we had before. It's clear that the way that we work has changed forever. Flexible working has now become the norm. Now, people often talk about the pandemic accelerating changes by maybe 5 or 10 years, but I would argue that this shift to home working would never have happened had we not all been sent home to communicate with each other through our screens for such a long period of time. We're still trying to work out, I think, how to get to grips with this, but it's clear that this change alone has had a profound impact on how we live, on where we live, on who we work for, and crucially, how we engage with our customers and our colleagues. The pandemic also really raised awareness of mental health and well-being issues. We all experienced difficult times, particularly at the start of the lockdown, with those prolonged periods of isolation, trying to juggle schooling and home life and not seeing our friends and family, some people worrying about loss of job or even worse. And this led to an outpouring of concern across society. We're all aware of colleagues or vulnerable customers or people in our local communities that needed help. And I think that continues to stay with us today as we start to return back to normal. It's also really clear that digital transformation saved us from what could have been a catastrophic economic impact. It was only sort of 10 years ago where a lot of the technology that we depended on throughout the pandemic didn't really exist, or at least was in its infancy. If you think about video calling, online supermarket shopping, the delivery network that we relied on to support it, even smartphones and tablet computers were still in their infancy, just 10 years ago. But there's no doubt as well that the adoption of digital technology has accelerated as a result of the pandemic. But it also allowed us to recognise the value of human interaction. When starved of physical contact, it really made us realise how much we need to get together, to share ideas, to learn, and how important it is to build relationships with our colleagues and with customers. So where now? Where do we go from here? How do we build back a better version of what we had before that takes everything that we've learned in the pandemic, the value of human contact, combined with these incredible digital technologies that we have available to us? How can we harness this to create a better world that better serves our customers and better serves our employees? Well, this is what we're here to talk about today at Disrupt. If you look around this room today, we've gathered together some of the country's leading experts in customer experience and digital transformation. You'll see many of the UK's most recognised brands as you walk around the room. You're going to have the opportunity to touch and feel some of the latest technologies. They're going to transform the way we engage with customers and employees over the course of the next decade. We also know that your attention is scarce. It's the most precious commodity that you have is your time. And we're incredibly grateful that you've decided to share that with us today. So I urge you to really take advantage of today, take advantage of these moments to question, to network, to learn, to build relationships with people, but most importantly, to have some fun.